All right, let's take a look at these oil tankers. I've been trying to check out the spot to go long on these guys, and I think we may have a spot here. So this is DHT, the double hull tankers. Let me just flip through and take a look at a few of these. TNK, Teekay, and so this was the one that was signaling to me that it might be a good time to go long because this looked like a good consolidation reversal zone here on the Teekay tankers. So I got some long positions here uh, back before this bounce, and we've got a higher bottom here and not quite a higher top on that one. Nordic American Tankers, the crazy one that gets all the hype. Nordic, I wasn't as excited in Nordic because it's already up here above kind of the moving average, and so like TK and DHT are the crude tankers that were down below the moving average and looked like they were reversing. Um, Whereas Nordic was still kind of on a downtrend, but it has popped here. And so it looks like it's kind of following the same trend as the other guys. Let's check out like Frontline. Similar. Yeah, so all of these tanker companies are kind of reversing and putting in higher bottoms here. Whoa. And here's Euronav, and looks kind of similar here as well. Just kind of putting in kind of a higher bottom and looking like a reversal. So it seems to me that DHT and NAT kind of have the biggest volatility range as far as a percentage move up. Let's take another look at NAT. 4 to 5 or something. Yeah, so I mean they did that crazy move from like 2 kind of to 8, but I mean this is just a crazy parabolic top. But still it was like a 3 or 4x swing that it did. And it hasn't come down even halfway down. So the tanker companies that I went on long this week, or I guess Friday, I can't remember, might have been last week, around this area here was TK, which is less crazy, but this is still a pretty big swing. But this is kind of the solid, more blue chip kind of company, and it's come down. I mean, here's where the crash kind of started here, and so I mean, this is kind of the trajectory that it's been on. If you get rid of the crazy stuff, and this looks like a move kind of that's too low right now for the trajectory. But this looks like a good stock over, oh, I don't know. There's still oil oversupply, maybe a couple of months or something. And I think this is probably going to be a relative bottom here. And then I think DHT and the NAT stock are similar. And I think this could be a relative bottom here on both of those as well. And DHT did put in a higher low and a higher high here. So I like the chart on DHT. And also, I think that this one has kind of more room to make a bigger percentage move up. And so those are the crude tankers that are still getting extra business from oil oversupply. And then there's a couple of product tankers to look at. Scorpio as the really big product tanker fleet that has a bunch of new boats. And so this fleet looks like it's trying to go up a little bit, but it's just kind of a tiny move up. Oh, it's not that bad, 16 to 18. But the product fleet's a little bit trickier to play with here over the next couple of months while the crude fleets still have all the supply, the product tanker fleets don't really look like they're going to benefit quite as much for that. Um, but if oil recovers over the next year or so, Scorpio tankers could be in a really good position. I don't know, maybe as like a 5 year kind of thing, as sort of a lead product tanker fleet, because they have newer boats and they're installing scrubbers, and there's just really low orders for new product tankers, and all the fleets. The order books are really low, and so they have the new tankers. And as other companies kind of cycle their tankers out of the fleet, these guys are going to have a good fleet already here, and other fleets aren't going to be adding as many tankers. So I think this looks like a really strong product tanker company over the next 5 years. And I don't know if this is a good spot to get into a product tanker or not. I think I want to see a little bit more before I try to do that. And then, oops, see what Tops is doing. Oh, it did like a little thing. Yeah, so these guys have been, well, doing splits and diving off cliffs and doing public offerings, and just, it's looked like a mess. But potentially, it has already bottomed back here, and it's trying to climb up. So yeah, this is a tiny product tanker fleet with a really big debt burden, and I think this company, I mean, the valuation here is so tiny, um, but I think this company could be okay if they can just kind of be even mediocre over the next few years. The stock could go way up. Um, and I don't understand why they're so bad. I mean, they have operational tankers. It should be a reasonably good environment for all the tanker companies, but this is the weirdest chart ever, and they're just having a bunch of financial difficulties. And this is like the eco tankers, and I think they have one crude tanker and like five product tankers in this fleet. Um, but I don't know. This is a weird one that just seems too low, but it doesn't really show a lot of signs of reversing. I don't know. This chart is just really scary. That's a strange one. And here's Ardmore Shipping Company. So this is a product tanker fleet as well. And so I mean they're not really in too much of a bullish trend. Long term, they're just kind of in this zone, but I think that these product fleets should be relatively good longer term. But we have to see if we get another market crash or another liquidity problem, and how these are going to respond to that, and just see. I mean, oil went up really fast, so I'm not really trusting the oil prices right now. But there still is oil oversupply, and yeah, I really want to see. I want to see if the oil pulls back, and I want to see if the stock market gets in trouble again before I start looking at longer term plays kind of on these product fleets. But I do like the crude fleets just short term right now, where the stock market is up in a weird spot, and those product fleets are, I'm sorry, the crude oil fleets like DHT, NAT, TNK, those are my favorite ones right now. I think those are in a good position as kind of a low buy right now. That could climb while the general stock market does whatever crazy nonsense it's doing right now. The normal stock market is just like crazy right now, and these tanker fleets seem like a reasonable sort of contrarian long play. that's out of that craziness, and it's actually a stable business model that's doing well in these conditions. So that's a look at the tankers. I think there's a couple others. Let me Pixis Tankers. This is a tanker, like a product fleet that's Greek, and this is an ugly chart. So I'm not particularly interested in this one. This is a weird one. And here's Zakos Energy Navigation. This is another Greek fleet. It's a little bit bigger fleet, and it has crude and product. And so this one looks like it could be trying to break out also. It did a pretty good swing. I mean, 1 to 5. Yeah, so this is not just like a crude fleet. This is a mixed fleet. So I don't really like it as much as kind of, like getting a crude fleet like DHT, NHT, TNK. That's just crude if you're trying to do the crude play, or like STNG is the product fleet that I'm interested in more long term. This is kind of a mixed one that's getting a mixed up chart, but it looks like it's a good chart, and it looks like it's general kind of long through all this stuff that's going on right now. And so the oil prices going up should be good for these product fleets. And it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it has more to do with the oil oversupply, but the prices of oil going up will potentially reduce the oversupply. The oil supply and the oil prices are really crazy right now, and I don't really trust the oil prices because they went up so fast. So that's just a look over these oil tanker fleets. I haven't done a tanker fleet video in a little while, and I think this might be a spot where they're gonna kind of turn around and be a decent long position, while everything else is a crazy, crazy mess. And this is not investment advice. And please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs, and happy trading.